running up Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name. Badlands, running up Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name. Badlands, running up Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name. Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.
We have an army of digital soldiers. But we are now what we call, I call them, because this was an insurgency, folks. This was run like an insurgency. This was irregular warfare at its finest.
All the world is a stage, bro.
Man, welcome back, Badlands. The Q After Hours. We were off last week, and we are back, me and Alpha tonight. And I hope everybody is doing well out there. And what the frick, man! Look what's happened. You know, Alpha, this isn't, I know you got to read some ads, but I just want to jump into this real quick because this is where it gets really exciting. Back in about March time frame when, all of those Fox journalists got those Epstein binders. You're like, Epstein binders, oh my God. We were like, wait. Just wait. Trump comes out and he's like, oh, that Epstein guy. Oh, just forget about all that. And everybody's like, I told you Trump was going to protect the elites. Me and Alpha were like, guys, just wait. Trust me. You got to build up the momentum. You got to let the normies see. You got to bring the Democrats into the fold. Let them say, yeah, release the Epstein files. And then before you notice, all of a sudden, boom, there it is. And you're like, wait, Pizzagate just returned? Yeah, Pizzagate just returned.
Patience, young grasshopper.
That's right.
First, you guys are probably saying, wait, I see one, I see two. Where's the third musketeer? Brad is gonna take a break from Q After Hours for a little bit. A lot on his plate. A lot of us have a lot on our plate, you guys. If for those of you that track us, there's what you see, that what we do on screen, but off the screen there's a lot of work, and Brad does have a lot of extra duties. So hopefully, maybe in the future we can get him back. But if not, make sure you guys are still supporting everything else that he's a part of, because he's always in BQ After Hours. So absolutely love Brad. But just to address all that, and so no one goes and starts rumorville or anything like that, absolutely love Brad. Brad loves us. It's just a matter of workload. That's all it is, folks. So don't get carried away with it. In addition to that, it's going to get spicy tonight when we get into the audience participation part. You know what? Let me address something. So the last time,
what did I do?
No. You didn't do nothing.
Okay.
No. The last time that I was on here with you guys, we did have a lot of paranormal talk. And what I will say is some interesting stories that the audience shared in the comment sections right here on Q After Hour. So if you all want to hear some crazy stories, go read the comments.
I had some Badlanders, Red Pillars reach out to me over the course of the last few weeks, and they said, you guys need to do more of that.
and they put it in the chat. Now we're not going to get ahead of it. We're going to have a good conversation about that. And something tells me we have it strategically timed perfectly for the end. So just be patient. If you're here now, you're going to want to definitely be here at the end of the show. I don't know. Me and Josh might just be breaking some news. I don't know. Just got a funny little feeling, Josh.
I bet you something that we say tonight happens in the next 2 days.
I would definitely say I agree with that. If you're new to the show, do us a solid. The content is free. Smash the thumb, hit the heart, share it out, leave a comment. In addition to that, if you're new to Badlands, we have a whole lot of Badlands shows that are all 7 days out of the week at different times of the day, different content, different themes, just the fellas, just the ladies, different opinions and perspectives. So if you enjoyed this show tonight, I definitely would challenge you to go through the channel and look at the playlist. You'll find a lot of great content. So with that, we do got some bills to pay. So we'll start with the first 2 ads. And then of course, yes, folks, we're going to talk Epstein tonight. We know everybody wants to know about it. We will dive into that. Don't know if you guys are expecting the way we're going to talk about it, but we're definitely going to talk about it. And on top of that, me and Josh are mission oriented tonight, and that's going to have a lot to do with some of the news that we share at the end of the show as well, that we think you guys will be motivated and happy about. But we are transitioning phases here, and it's audience participation is going to go beyond just the comments. So you guys will see what we're saying with that. Anything you want to say before I get to the first ad, Josh?
For everybody out there, we put a lot of time, energy, and effort into kind of making sure that we are fairly accurate, that we understand what's happening, and we can kind of look at that 40,000 foot view. And it helps us if you guys hit that thumbs up button, that rumble thumbs, getting those likes out there and sharing this content. I would even say that this is more of a show, because we do talk Q. We do talk Q, but it's not all Q. And because there's an idea about Q, that Q is not all Q. And I think that that's very, very important. We'll talk about that more here in this show tonight, especially when we get into Epstein and kind of evolve ideas. But if you guys can help support us, hit those follow buttons, hit those like buttons, it definitely does help.
So you mean, Josh, like, when a caterpillar goes into its cocoon and has a change of its format and comes out with
metamorphosis,
like metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. When a caterpillar goes through its metamorphosis in its cocoon and it comes out and it got its wings and it's a butterfly, doesn't mean that it wasn't a caterpillar at one point. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a fun night, you guys, and it's going to be task oriented at some point. So with that, let's get to our first sponsor, because we got amazing sponsors, folks. And let me take this banner right off the screen so we can read. Van Man, folks. You know about the Van Man taking down big toothpaste with all natural oral care, right? It's the perfect time to grab the dental care bundle to gift. Van Man's tooth powder is loaded with minerals like eggshells and bone, and combined with pulling oils and peppermint aloe mouth rinse. It's truly the ultimate fluoride-free dental hygiene bundle that saves you 25% off the individual prices. And the van never stops. Introducing Van Man's new Pearl Eye Cream and Sweet Onion Shampoo. Head over to badlandsmedia.tv/vanman to see what's new. That's badlandsmedia.tv/vanman. Like the shoes with the man after it. Then the next one that we got for you guys, which is another great one. And I'm just, listen, before I even start this one, is it Tamark or Tamrick?
I don't know. In the chat?
No. The commercial. I always say tamaric, but I feel like I'm supposed to say tamarack.
Tamarack. Okay. Tamarack.
Tamarack.
Tamarack. Yes.
Hooks on phonics worked for me. All right. Tamarack. Here we go. Are you looking for a better alternative to the over-the-counter drugstore medications? Tamarack Garden began from the parents' desperate need for safe and effective options for their kids. Tired of toxic chemicals taking matters into their own hands, they began crafting medicine from weeds, wildflowers, and herbs, the original time-tested healers that modern medicine can't match. Packed with antiviral herbs to boost immunity and fight illness, Tamarack Garden has, for a limited time, their elderberry and rosehip syrup kit available. Not only is it delicious, no more battles with the kids, and easy to make, it will keep you and your family healthy all fall and winter. Introducing Tamarack Garden's new baby line, clean, non-toxic, and gentle for newborns and moms, relieving cradle cap, diaper rash, stretch marks, and postpartum pain. Visit tamarackgarden.com today and use promo code Badlands for $10 off orders over $50. Remember to eat your weeds. tamarackgarden.com. Promo code Badlands. And listen, I may have said it right. I may have said it wrong, but I'll tell you one thing I do got right. That stuff is awesome. Absolutely phenomenal. My little ones love it. It's just the entire family loves that stuff. Whether you're doing the teas, whether you got some stuff on your skin, you don't want to put chemicals and ointments. It is great. Visit that. Visit Van Man. Those links are down in the description. Josh.
Yes.
Bro. I have seen over the last, I don't know, a day and a half. What's that? 36 hours. I'm at least marine mathing right. Got that going for me. I have seen the deployment of everybody's psychological operations. I see the black pillars out there. Oh, told you no one's been arrested. I've seen the subversive, anti-MAGA, anti-Trump, trolls. You guys are protecting the pedophile. He's all over the list. I have seen the ones that are just like Epstein created crypto. You name it. Everybody is maximum deployed right now. And everybody's kind of just forgetting one simple little fact. So
what is that?
Here's where I'm going to go, Josh. When I was a cop, believe it or not, folks, this guy in a prior life was a cop. And some crazy ass people from time to time would call us to come to their homes, or they come to the police station and they'd be like, I got to report a crime. And we'd be like, that's our job. Tell me the crime. I was over there at the liquor store and this 10-armed octopus / alien part Rottweiler stole my wallet. And then it jumped in a spacecraft and took off. And I said, you're positive about that? Yes, I am, sir. And you're not doing any drugs? Nope. No mental health issues? None. All right. Well, I'm going to go and document this. And here's your business card. And if you see that 10-armed tentacle octopus part Rottweiler that drove away in a UFO Oldsmobile, you let me know. And then I go to the computer and I put in my notes and it would say what this guy told me. Now, let's just say for, entertainment purposes, Josh, you got wind of this and you said, you know what, I'm going to do a FOIA request. I'm going to request that. I'm going to request that call. And so you go to the police department, you say, hey, I heard that Detective Luna took an investigation into aliens and I want that report. They said, okay, you got the proper paperwork. Josh, here you go. And then you get this police report, official government documentation with a real person that investigated it and a real person that reported it. Does that mean it happened?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Well, so what you're trying to point out, and I get what you're doing. This was interesting because there's a declassified FBI document on Nikola Tesla. And it talks about how Tesla was communicating with Martians. It talks about how Tesla was originally from Venus. And a lot of people use this as, oh my God, Nikola Tesla was from Venus. He was an alien and the government knew about it because there's a declassified CIA document that says it. But what they don't understand is that the FBI, the CIA, the DOJ, they classify everything. Everything. And if it goes under a massive system like Epstein, or if it goes under Tesla, they'll just throw everything under that, and that'll be under that same level of classification. The reference document that I'm talking about is actually from 1952, after Tesla died. It was a newsletter that went out and distributed to 9 people, 3 of which were intelligence agencies. And it was basically just fiction being written about Nikola Tesla, being tall tales being written by Nikola Tesla. But when the CIA declassifies that, and now it's sitting on their website, oh, well, that's the Holy Grail. That must be real because the CIA had it. And the idea here is that just because it's coming out and it's from the NYPD and it's a case file that came in of someone who signed an affidavit sworn by the testimony of law, doesn't mean it's true. Because, well, some people have agendas. Some people lie. Some people are crazy. And we just have to understand that. Now, does that mean that everything is a lie? No. Does that mean that some of the things are lies? Yeah. Does that mean that the things that are lies don't have truth to them? I don't know. But this is the one key point. I know where Alpha's going with this, because he's going with these eyewitness testimonies that were given to the NYPD and the FBI pertaining to the Epstein files that are now being released, that basically claim that Donald Trump did some horrific things. Let me ask everybody in this audience, since 2015, when Donald Trump announced that he was running for president, to current date, if at any point in time Donald Trump did any horrific act, murdered a man, raped a girl, did any of these types of things, don't you think they would have persecuted and prosecuted him for that? Especially with the 4 years of the Joe Biden administration, where they'd have the ability to manipulate and construe it in any way, shape, form, and fashion they wanted. Instead, what do you get? E. Jean Carroll. You get E. Jean Carroll, a 70-year-old old wrinkled woman who's ugly as sin, who claims that Donald Trump tried to grope her in the woman's locker room. Okay, come on. We're not gullible. And so we know this because actually Alpha and I have been talking about this specifically, that one of the main hesitations of the Epstein files is, number one, there's a massive amount of them. There's millions upon millions of them. But they know that there was manipulation in the Epstein documents. They know that Michael Wolff and Jeffrey Epstein with Steve Bannon were working together to undermine Donald Trump during his first presidency. They were working on tactics and strategies. And you have Jeffrey Epstein that's like, no, I ain't got nothing on Trump. I ain't got nope, he never got a massage. To the 6 months later, oh yeah, Trump is the evilest of all evil. And you got to understand that who was controlling Epstein? What do I mean by that? Is you have a massive deep state intelligence apparatus that controlled Epstein. Why? Because Epstein was a financial handler, an intermediary for intelligence agencies. And Brennan, one of the tops of this, was a leader of kind of the deep state, along with Obama, which is kind of a middle level management that had control over these various different assets and would utilize them to basically dig up dirt, to do dirt, to produce dirt. And so when we start to look at this, I say anything that's really coming out after 2017 pertaining to Trump and Epstein, I think is nothing more than nonsense and bullshit. That relationship we know ended, I think, around 2003, 2004 timeframe. This happened in Florida and West Palm Beach, Florida area, when Donald Trump basically rug pulled Jeffrey Epstein. How did that happen? So Jeffrey Epstein was trying to buy, well, number one, Jeffrey Epstein got ejected out of Mar-a-Lago for trying to recruit the massage therapist at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. That was first. Trump kicked Epstein out, told him never to come back, and that ended the relationship. Next, Epstein tried to buy a property in West Palm Beach. Donald Trump reached out to the owner of the property and said, do not and you will not sell this property to Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein tried to go around him. Donald Trump, I believe, ended up buying the property and then tearing down all of the real estate on it and just leaving it a vacant plot of land. It was something crazy like that. But then a tip went into the U.S. attorney in the Southern District of Florida, and Epstein came under investigation. Now, the only person after that tip was given to actually testify and help federal prosecutors was Donald Trump.
One of the key things that the attorney of the Epstein victims disclosed in that too is not only did he contact them, and this is the words of the attorney, but he provided us actionable information.
Yep.
And why is that important, folks? That means anyone can just show up and be like, well, he showed up and he talked to us. He just gave us a bunch of fluff, nothing of substance. But when you have an attorney that turns around and says no actionable information was provided, then that means there was furtherance that was accomplished because of the information provided by President Trump, whether it was more investigations, whether it was civil, criminal, we don't know. We don't have that information yet. But here's what I will say. We all wanted the disclosures, and we knew that they were going to come. We told you guys this all the way back in February or March, just like Josh said. But here's the thing that I'm telling you, folks. You know, because I've had people that have been messaging me all day, bro. You know, you're not putting out any like crazy information on Epstein yet. I said, because we haven't seen it yet. They're like, what? All the documents are out there. I go, do you forget I was a cop? If I'm working on an active investigation, do you think I'm going to release that information while I'm doing the investigation? No, you can't. That'd be misconduct. You're not giving someone due process. So everything that we're seeing that's being released is everything that they've deemed irrelevant to their investigations. What am I talking? I'm talking about the RICO cases. You know, what's really happening, whatever capacity. And I think there's multiple capacities when you're talking about Epstein. I think we do have the financial part. I think we do have the crimes against humanity when you look into the science of what he did. And of course, I think we have the most horrific things of, things that happen to children by sickos and pedophiles. You think that information is going to get released while they're doing active investigations? Here's what the deep state knows. The deep state knows the anti-Trumpers. I know there's some Massey Simps in the audience, and there's been some interesting stuff being released about him.
Hey, I like Tom Massey.
I know you like CanCon, but it's okay. We all got a little bit of retard in us, but here's the thing: is where was the point I was making with that?
RICO case.
With the RICO cases, what Massey and these guys all want to exploit is they know that Tulsi Gabbard or Bondi can't come out and say, well, this is what we're doing. They know that there's going to be a void of time where there's not going to be that disclosure. So that gives them the opportunity to capitalize on it because they're not saying anything. Well, then this must be the truth. This must be where things are going. I want to remind you guys, this is what these same characters were doing in the beginning of Trump's presidency. And there was a certain man that came out. I've seen some of you guys been trashing on him in the chats, who's going to be returning to podcast tomorrow. And he put out a post and he said, just because you don't see it doesn't mean things aren't happening. And a lot of people are like, oh. And then over the course of the next few months, we have John Solomon that releases stuff later regarding Hillary and that she's under investigation. And what does he say? Yeah, we knew this months ago, or my sources knew this months ago when we got this information from Cash and Bongino. So what I'm telling you, folks, is there is a lot of psychological warfare and propagandas and agendas happening right now on social media.
Yep.
So ask yourself, right now, are you using social media or social media using you? And there's only one correct answer to that. It's that we're using social media. Just
well, depends who you are, but
just the uncomfortable pause right there.
So there was an email that came out that's kind of going around and getting some traction because people are like, what is going on here? If people didn't see this email, they would, if you don't understand the context of what was happening in 2016, 2017, right? Pre-Q timeframe. This is a Jeffrey Epstein email in 2017 to Michael Wolff. This is 2 days before Q started, by the way. He says, I assume you already know that the original funder of the dossier was Rubio. Not sure why it seems so mysterious. He's saying that Marco Rubio was the original funder. Now, is this a real email? Yep, it is. Did we know that Marco Rubio was the original funder? Well, when Marco Rubio, by the way, Marco Rubio gang of 8 during that point in time, it wasn't Marco Rubio proper. This is what we have to understand. So, firstly, this has been known for a long time. Funding for the dirt on Trump started with conservative outlet Washington Free Beacon for anti-Trump research, and then it shifted to the Democrats through Fusion GPS and the DNC. The Washington Free Beacon is controlled by Paul Singer, who is a billionaire hedge fund manager and founder of Elliott Management and a hardcore neocon. Also one of the primary supporters of Marco Rubio's campaigns and Marco Rubio at the time when he was in the Senate. This is aligned at the same time with others in the RNC, Pence, Ryan, who were looking for ways to take down Trump and remove him from the nomination with Rule Number 9. And yes, the Republicans were trying to find a way to stop Donald Trump, including Lindsey Graham, including John McCain. They all were. Now, does this implicate Rubio? No, it doesn't, because I think the one thing that we fail to kind of perceive is we think of senators and congressmen and politicians as just your everyday average Joe, and they're just over there representing their constituents. That is not how Washington, D.C. works. And it doesn't matter if you're an establishment person, if you're a person that's fortified within the RNC and you have an outsider coming in, you're going to fight tooth and nail. You're going to do everything possible to ensure that that guy doesn't get in. And that's what was happening in 2016 when Donald Trump won the election. It scared the shit, not only the Democrats, it scared the Republicans, because the face of the Republican Party at that point in time was about to change massively. Now, also keep note, it was the Gang of 8 intelligence information who knew about the Steele dossier, who knew about the financing and the funding of it, who knew about the FISA gate. They were briefed on this. Who were those members? Marco Rubio, John McCain, Lindsey Graham, Jeff Flake from the Senate. On the other side, Chuck Schumer, Dick Durbin, Bob Menendez, Michael Bennett. Isn't it interesting that Dick Durbin, like I called this, remember when Pam Bondi came out and said she just watched a horrific video of the Epstein files. And I said, you're going to see a senator that's going to be retiring and stepping down and getting out. And 2 weeks later, Dick Durbin's like, I'm out. I'm like, told you so. And then you have Bob Menendez, corruption, right? John McCain dead. Lindsey Graham, turncoat. Marco Rubio, turncoat. Jeff Flake, gone. And Michael Bennett is not doing too well. Chuck Schumer and Michael Bennett are not doing too well. Bennett has been on an absolute frenzy to take down Trump, but he's implicated under the 2016 or 2017 ICA, the Intelligence Community Assessment, because it was this Gang of 8 that knew what was in there and hid it and allowed the fake information to be implemented in there from Brennan and the Steele dossier. So keep in mind that people like Marco Rubio and Lindsey Graham, we might not like them in some contexts. I actually like Marco Rubio right now. But it's not that they were bad guys. It's that Trump freed them. And at least that's the way I look at it. Trump freed them from the grips of a beast of the political machinery and the money behind that political machinery that keeps everybody controlled and in tow. And I believe that Trump has freed a lot of these guys or removed them from positions of their power. And so when we start to look at Marco Rubio, I think Marco Rubio is at the top of his game right now. And I think that Trump absolutely freed him from the constraints of the donors. And that's one of the powerful parts about Donald Trump. And I don't know if other people see this, is that you don't need to be like, if you're a typical Democrat politician, you have the lobbies that support and benefit you. And you need those lobbies in order to win your districts, because those lobbies typically arrange manufacturing, processing, or business within your district. And that's why they're supporting you. But then if you have the support of Donald Trump and you have Donald Trump's PACs that align around you, you no longer need that money. You don't no longer need that lobby. You don't have to worry about the fear of re-election, because now you get the power of the Trump army behind you. And so this is kind of the idea for people like, and I don't like Lindsey Graham, don't get me wrong, but Marco Rubio and Lindsey Graham. So this email is quasi right. And here's the thing is, who's to say that Jeffrey Epstein had all the correct information? He's just saying that, hey, there's someone in there, Marco Rubio, than the political aspect side, that his main financier is funding the Steele dossier. Look at that. Oh, isn't that interesting? So, you know, we got to be able to break down these things in context and remember all the historical reference. So when we start to hear about things coming out in the Epstein files, it's not immediately react emotionally. It's go back and say, wait a minute, what do I know about Epstein? What do I know about the Epstein files? What are these relationships? What was going on during that time frame when all of this was happening? Who are these players? What could this mean? What is the possible understanding of this, or the relationship of this, right? So we have to break it down massively. So I hope that everybody else out there does the same thing.
You know, if I happen to be a white hat that was in charge of the portion of the operation that involved Epstein. And let's just pretend for a second you're Trump, Josh, and you called me into, Mar-a-Lago, right, the summer White House, and said, "Hey, Alpha, we need to get this Epstein stuff out there. What do you suggest on how we deploy this so we get maximum effect?" I said, "Well, the first thing, boss, is we know that the deep state is going to weaponize the agenda against you." And he's going to be like, "Check, you're right." I said, "The next thing, boss, is we know that the last 2.5 years with the rollout of commercial AI, all kinds of deep fakes have been out there. Everybody's kind of hot around the collar around it. Some people recognize it, some don't, but it takes a little while to kind of figure that out. And I think that's going to get exploited when we drop these files." He's going to be like, "Check, you're right about that." I said, "The other thing too is, it's like any investigation. Reasonable doubt throws it all away." He's gonna be like, "Yeah, what are you telling me, Alpha? What do you say?" I say, let's do it in phases." I don't know. They kind of hinted at that in those binder gates, right? Because then you allow everybody to shoot their wads. Everybody is shooting their wads at Trump right now. Everybody. It is full blown. All the text message groups are out there. I know, because some of my friends have them infiltrated. All the directions are going out there, folks, on attack Trump, attack Trump, attack Trump, attack Trump. People are even saying, "Well, what if some of them are fake?" Doesn't matter. Just put it out there. They don't even care.
Yep.
It's just they want to make chaos against Trump. And you got all the good anons, the good digital soldiers, and real journalists that are going and saying, "Hey, nope, this one's fake. Hey, this one's taken out of context. This one's tweaked." And everybody's hammering it out. So what's happening is all this momentum is taking off like this, and then it's just going to sputter out and it's going to stall. And then it's going to kind of get boring. The conversation's going to be like, "All right, we've been talking about this." And people are starting to ask questions because there are some important things that are being released right now. There's names that are important. But guess what? Once all the excuses have been dealt with and once all the fabrications have been identified, and then Trump says, just like he did this time, "Oh, we found another 1,000,000 documents in some burn bags." Because, they're just hanging around places. And all of a sudden in this information, you have the stuff that is important, or you have the stuff that leads us into disclosure of these RICO cases and what's going on. Then their moment of climax is fizzled out. It's in an optics war. Perception is powerful, and what Trump's doing right now is he's allowing them to wage everything they have and front load it to get, because that's what they want. They want the advantage right now. They want the lead in. But he already knows what's going to be played. He knows the Trump card that's coming down the pipeline. He knows the real investigations that are coming, and they don't. And he is destroying their effectiveness. All while he's doing that, he's exposing people again on, as soon as they have the opportunity to attack Trump, they attack him. You just saw people that attacked Trump a few weeks ago, whether it was Venezuela and a few weeks ago before that. And then they come back and they're like, "Well, it was just this." And, MAGA and conservatives are very forgiving. So we invite them back. And then they're right at it again. At some point, people are going to be like, "No, man, every time there's a chance for you to jab at Trump, you take it with no hesitation." And all that gets exposed. But what I will say, a name that I see even normie people starting to talk about right now is Rachel Chandler.
Oh, well, that was in the Epstein documents.
It was. And that's one of those things that got released. And part of me just wonders if Trump is setting up the conversations for what's coming in the future. And I'd like to get your take on that. And I got a couple Epstein drops that I want to bring up and see if you can find any context for those on those. But what's your thoughts on Rachel Chandler?
Well, do you know what the name means? Because it's not her real name.
I've heard of child handler.
Yep, C handler. So
Mhm.
child handler. Yep, Chandler. Yeah, so she is ran a modeling agency, socialite in Hollywood, New York. Basically is high end. So when you start to think about people like Rachel Chandler, what you want to start thinking about is what was her name? It was Heidi Fleiss. Start thinking about Heidi Fleiss. Think about people like that, but for more high level clientele and for more rare types of products that they would want. So various different types of excursions or experiences that they would want, and they pay a massive amount of money for these types of things. So I don't know where she's at right now. She should be in jail, but her name has came out in the Epstein files.
Indeed. And here's one of the posts I want to share with people. This is 3134, March 20th, 2019. And it has a link, rachelchandler.us. How many girls were waiting for their return to the boat? Who owned the boat? What does a handler procure? Is the handler one of many connected to Epstein? Flight logs reveal many hidden artifacts. RC, who is Rachel Chandler, which Josh just did a phenomenal job of breaking us down that information. Why is this important, folks? You know, some of you are like, yeah, I've known this for a while. Good. It's not about you. It's about the people that aren't aware. If you have all the knowledge, but you can't share that and expand it to bring truth to other people, well, then what's the point? And so it's understanding this information, because I'll tell you right now, I was listening in the tunnels a lot today while I was going about my day. And a lot of people were bringing up Rachel Chandler. And I was I'll say one thing that gave me a lot of, hope to the conversations coming in the next few days was I heard a lot of people saying, who's that? And I was like, right on. All right, now we're asking the right questions, and that's really important. So let me go to, and there's only about 4 of them, unless there's any that you want to bring up, but let me bring up this first one, and we'll fly through these, and unless there's something you want to park on to really talk about. Hopefully that's big enough.
Go ahead.
So 4565, this is dated July 2nd, 2020. And it says possible Epstein was a puppet, not the main persons of interest. Now, I like having this one because this is something that we've talked about before, is everybody's hyper focus on Epstein. But again, are we asking the right questions? So think about that. Finance by who or for what? F in brackets, entities. Number 1, primary, gather, blackmail, and elected polls, dignitaries, royalty, Hollywood influencers, Wall Street, and other financial top-level players, other high-profile industry-specific people, etc. You kind of touched on that right now. Number 2, feed and addiction, controllable, Maxwell family background, Robert Maxwell history, intel, agency, wealth, class, 1 through 99. Sometimes it's the people in the background that are of greater significance. And I wanted us to start off with this one because this one touches on things that we've addressed in the past. And I think since it's the Epstein's drop now, we can bring it here, because I think one thing me and you have agreed on is Epstein's not the main guy.
Yep.
That he had a handler. And if I remember correctly, who do we think that handler was, Josh?
Well, his handler was Ghislaine Maxwell.
And so if the boards are telling us, prompting us for questions and prompting us to dig, and now we're into a point where there's declassification and information that's being put in front of us, are we supposed to focus on the guy that's either allegedly dead by suicide, maybe he's in WITSEC? Are we supposed to be focusing on the relationships this guy had, because this is the direction that they were trying to put us in? Like help me walk through this. What is the expectation? Why is this happening? It's not just for entertainment, although I think a lot of people will exploit it for that. There's a rhyme and a reason to this, and I think it's our job to figure that out.
Yeah. So this is going to be a good conversation.
You want me to pull this one down so you can pull something up?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to pull anything up, but this is a good discussion.
Okay.
So possible Epstein was a puppet, not the main person of interest. So when Q says this here, notice how he says this, not the main person of interest, as in an investigation. This is 2020, right? Financed by who or what F entities. F here, I believe, is pertaining to financial. Okay. primarily gather blackmail and elected poll dignitaries, royalty. Okay, so that's something that an intelligent, deep state intelligence apparatus would need. Then feed the addiction, controllable. So this is 2 points of how to control governments, leaders, business associates all around the world, right? And then Maxwell family background. Well, Robert Maxwell, publisher, but was what? Directly associated with KGB and MI6 and the Mossad. And we're finding through Epstein's emails that it's proclaimed that the Mossad actually had Maxwell killed. Now, Maxwell's history, intel agency, wealth, and then parts of it classified 1 through 99. Sometimes it's the people in the background who are the greater significance. That's Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, so Ghislaine Maxwell grew up in Robert Maxwell's family. This is London royal elites. This is massive financial institutions and bankers. Now, going back, we know Epstein prior to meeting, well, he knew of and kind of maybe associated with Ghislaine Maxwell prior to Robert Maxwell's death, but it's not very documented. What we do know is that Epstein was already with the CIA before he met Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay. So he was already working with the CIA as a financial handler, an intermediary for the dark money channels. How do you take, a weapons smuggler and ensure that that guy becomes a billionaire and funds Iran-Contra like Aden Khashoggi? And how do you move his money into legitimate investments? Well, that person was Jeffrey Epstein, and he was set up for that by the CIA. Well, he meets Ghislaine Maxwell, and he gets introduced to a new group of people. This new group of people is a London banking family. Now, it just so happens that the wife of one of these people is who introduced Jeffrey Epstein to Bill and Hillary Clinton. Who is that? Lynn Forrester de Rothschild. So, financed by who or what F entities, financial entities? We're talking about Rothschilds. We're talking about the large financial institutions, central banking institutions. So you got to kind of see how this intermediary of Epstein at this mid-level of a handler, a financial handler for the large criminal elite, the human traffickers, the drug traffickers, the arms traffickers, and moving their money. And then the intelligence agencies would get a cut into their black budget, and this would be put in offshore shell accounts, and they'd be able to move this back and forth, right? That was Epstein's primary job, but then he got introduced to this whole new network that was already doing these things at a large scale beyond just proper CIA. And so this is kind of where he gets dragged into the Rothschild connection. And the Rothschild connection comes from the Maxwell connection. So just keep that in mind as we move forth here.
That the fact that you just had that in your brain housing group to put it out there, bro, is just, I'm always impressed, man.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, dude.
No.
Oh my God. I have a post out there that talks about a lot of these people. Epstein was one of many.
No, many. 100% agree with you. Well, and in addition to that, me and you have a shared mutual source who's told us about, another woman's name to pay attention to. And we've put that information out. And so we've known for quite some time, like the path that this was going to take and the things that were going to start being revealed. My thing is, what is the mission here? Everything's for a reason. And like I said, it's not for it. Although some are going to exploit it for grifting and entertainment, there's a mission purpose to this. Like, we know that. And so is it something as simple as, providing, like what you did right now, provide, here's the background information. Here's the thing that set it up to make sure that we're all on the same plane, right? Because that is important. If we're all going to move forward and these disclosures are going to come, you got to, you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? So you do got to get everybody's knowledge base at the same thing. So, at a minimum, is it that, or are we actually supposed to find something right now? And I'm not talking about, there's this massive dump of information. I get that. I just feel like there is a purpose to this with the timing and how, because remember, what did Trump and them say? Oh, we found an extra 3 million documents. Mm-hmm. And, we had that conversation a few weeks ago. I'm not going to rehash it, but That's supposed to say what to the deep state? Because not all communications are for us. It's telling the deep state, you thought you got rid of it, but you didn't. So is there a needle in the haystack in these 3 million documents? And if there is a needle in the haystack, is the expectation that we're all supposed to just go through these 3 million documents until one of us hopefully finds it amongst all the manipulation and AI that's being done? Or has Q already given us the information like what's in this post and telling us, hey, dummies, you don't have to go through all 3 million. I've told you what's the right question. Answer that, and that's what you need to search for. And that's how we find the pathway to this needle in the haystack that exists. Like, I don't know the answer to that. I have my speculations, but I'm curious to what you, the audience, think. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments. But I'm also curious, to what you think, Josh, because you do have, just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the background of these people. I feel like we're supposed to do something with it, man.
Well, let me. I'm pulling some things up right now because I think they're important to this conversation.
Well,
and
as you do that,
I got it up. So there's a post that I put out there. I've had 3 posts in the last 2 days that have all obtained over 200,000 views, which is just unheard of for X. So there's something happening here. Now, I said this post. Soon people will be learning all about Rothschild hunting parties, spirit cooking, and ritual sacrifice to harvest adrenochrome. Most people won't believe that the elites in Hunger Games were actually modeled after the modern wealthy elite class. Okay. And this goes to a Q post and 4921. But it's 4921, but I can actually bring the image up because I got the image blown up. And I think that this is the most important part about this. A deep, dark world is being exposed. The truth won't be for everyone. Have faith in humanity. That is where we are at right now. Okay. This is the pre-prep before the dark shit comes to light. And I got chills just reading that, but I want people to understand.
You gave them to me too, bro.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. They have a history of operating this way. How many times, Josh, in the last, couple years, have we seen them do something, test the temperature of society before they deploy the next step? It's exactly what this seems like right now.
Yep. So I want to play it's not loading for me. Hold on. I'm trying to get this video to load real quick, and I want people to truly understand the extent at which this is. Hold on. It's not fucking loading for some reason.
It sounds interesting. We can hear it.
Oh, you can hear it. Okay. Well, that's interesting that you can hear it. It's not playing it, but it's what's his name? Peter Brokaw. And it's about Bush's White House. Do you remember Bush's White House? Do you remember, or this is the end of Reagan's White House when Bush was VP. Okay. I'll pull this up. Let me blow this up so people can see that. Can you read that, Alpha?
Homosexual prostitution inquiry ensnares VIPs with Reagan. Bush cowboys took midnight tour of the White House.
Did anybody know about that? Because that was back in the 1980s. The interesting part about it is the guy that did it was Craig J. Spence. 1989, Craig J. Spence, scandal briefly cracked open. Something much bigger. The Washington Times reported a male escort ring tied to credit card fraud, blackmail risks, senior government and military figures. Spence was named as a major client and reportedly brought escorts on a 1 a.m. tour of the White House. Guess what happened to Craig?
Fired.
November 10th, 1980. Craig Spence was found dead and barricaded in room 429 at the Boston Ritz-Carlton in the city's most expensive hotel. He was dressed in a tuxedo and had $3 in his pocket, according to the police report. When found by hotel employees, he was attired in the style he affected at his lavish dinner parties: black tux with white shirt, bow tie with white suspenders, black socks and shoes with a telephone cradled in his ear, and a Walkman headset containing a cassette tape of Mozart's A Little Night music. Next to his body was a newspaper clipping about efforts to protect the CIA agents from testifying before government agencies. His death would later be ruled a suicide from ingesting alcohol and antidepressants.
You gotta be kidding me. When was that?
1989. People have known about this for a long time, guys. And then you get the Peter Brokaw.
And if Washington doesn't have enough to talk about these days, the Washington
Times for some reason
reported today that unidentified White House aides in the Carter, Reagan, and Bush administrations now are being investigated for using the services of a call boy ring. The paper reports that 2 of the male prostitutes were given a late-night tour of the White House last year. The White House press secretary, Marlin Fitzwater, said he knew nothing of this investigation. NBC's Lisa Myers reports her sources in the U.S. Attorney's Office say the investigation is not focusing on prostitution, but on fraud involving the use of credit cards to pay for the call boy service.
Okay, now why is this kind of part important? So they're saying that they had a tour at 1 a.m. The reason that came about is because they found in the White House guest log that they were actually signed in. It doesn't mean that they were given a tour, guys. Gay call boys don't come in to any place at 1 a.m. to get a tour to see what's going on over here. The dark world is being exposed.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So then let's take it to the next one. I want to get your thoughts on this because I do want to make sure I want to have a conversation about Bongino. And it can be towards the tail end, but I don't want to bypass. There's 3 more after this, but take a look at this one, Josh. This is $37.99. This is January 28th, 2020. And it says, "You didn't think we highlighted Epstein for no reason, did you? Those who were once protected are no longer. Timing is everything. Hunters become the prey." And
now
obviously
this is huge.
It it is.
Let me explain why it's huge. When did the Epstein dump happen?
That was January 20.
Look at the delta. Look at the delta.
Was it the 28th?
It was 27th, 28th, 29th. Doesn't matter. These things, you're in that range.
Yeah.
January 28th, almost a 5-year delta to the date. Don't think that we highlighted Epstein. You didn't think we highlighted Epstein for no reason, did you? And just think about the last year of the talk and discussions about Epstein, right? It was obviously amplified, but it was amplified through ancillary means. Those who were once protected are no longer. What do we mean by that? The Biden administration, the Trump deep state that came in the first administration that hid all of the files of the people that would be getting compromised, who eventually came out and said, "Oh yeah, release the Epstein files, get it out there. Oh yeah, we want it out there," when they were no longer being implicated, like Bill Clinton. Then he says, timing is everything. Hunters become the prey. And remember, we have it all. We have everything. This is huge because this is telling me that this isn't just ending with the release of these 3 million documents. This has just begun.
That's exactly the way I see it, is that this is the forefront, the beginning. And like I said, timing is everything, is absolute perfection. I do know that there was an official date of the 30th, and I think there was a delta with the 30th, but like you said, it's still in that window, and it puts us there. And so then this sets us up for the next one, 3429, which is July 14th. And it says, "How do you eliminate a liability? Where's Epstein being held? Reconcile. Do you believe in coincidences? Powerful people connected. Panic." Now, here's where I'm kind of thinking here, because context matters, and why is it relevant to now, and how does it apply to now? And some of the conversations. And here's the thing, man. You are seeing people that would normally not entertain these potential theories, and they're talking about it. And Josh, I was, if not the first, I was definitely one of the first that came out and specifically articulated the legal pathway to Epstein going into WITSEC with 18 USC 3521 and how that would work, with, no judicial oversight, the attorney general or the deputy attorney general, the only ones that would ever know about it. Like, there's a whole post out there from way back in the day of covering it. And now you're hearing people come out that are opposed to Trump even saying, I don't think Epstein's dead. So that it's being seeded. And so when you hear something right here and it says, where is Epstein being held? I'm sure there's context to the present or the time when that actually was presented to us. But if we're in the new evolution of Epstein now, and these questions are being had now, then this brings me to the question. If Epstein wasn't dead, if he is in a WITSEC, then the question we should be asking is, where is he being held? Like, these are the things I want us and our audience to start thinking about. You know, yes, we want to know who the sickos are. And yes, we want, you know, these people to be, I can't even say the words on the internet of what we want for their fate. Y'all get it, right? But there's a lot of things that need to be solved. So if we were going to have the conversation around Epstein right now, there's an island that you've mentioned before, Josh, of a potential. Do you remember that?
Over by Venezuela?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Margarita Island?
That's the conversation I want to have with you.
Interesting. Well, I want to touch on this post real quick, though, because this one is really interesting. How do you eliminate a liability? This could be meaning two ways, is white hats or black hats, right? And then where is Epstein being held? This is 4 days after his arrest. Apparently, at that point in time, he's being held in jail in New York City. Reconciled. Do you believe in coincidences? Powerful people connected, panic. So guess what happens on July 23rd? So what, roughly a little after 7 days after this, right?
All right.
July 23rd is Epstein's first attempted suicide. And Q comes out the day later, and that's when he does his eyes on about Epstein, as in pay attention. And then what do we have? That was July 23rd. 17 days later, I'll say that again. 17 days later, after Epstein's first attempted assassination, Epstein dies of suicide.
17 days. Interesting.
Right.
Let me ask you if it makes sense out of this right here. You know, one of the things that we would do when we would read prison letters amongst gangs is if they have certain things that are highlighted, like sometimes they write a letter, but if you write down all the letters that are in cap, that's a separate word. Right. Or if you know letters that are backwards, because they'll put letters backwards and you do all the backwards letters, there's a whole separate statement. So when you look at this post here, there's only certain words or partial words that are full caps. And so I would read it like this if I was, doing my gang stuff: liability, Epstein, power, panic. And I'm curious if that would mean anything to you, because they don't hide. Because the thing that definitely catches my attention here is they don't capitalize the entire word powerful. It's just power.
Right. And that was a trend of Q, that Q definitely did that and hid certain things in those posts of that. Liability, Epstein, power, panic. So, yep, Epstein is their greatest liability. So Epstein is their greatest liability. Powerful people are panicking. And, what, a month later, he's dead. Or was he?
Well, the other thing, too, is did the camera catch everything, or did they say that there is a lapse of a few seconds in a surveillance?
So, and I know Bongino is probably going to talk about this tomorrow, and he's going to be like, I've watched the video, guys. He's dead. I'm pretty sure that that's going to come out. But what I want you to understand is that I think everybody, no matter if they showed us Epstein hanging himself in his cell, no one would believe it. Nobody's going to believe it. So one thing I understand is that there's a reason they are telling us that he killed himself. They want us to think and believe that he killed himself. And it's not the bad guys that are saying this. I mean, his brother is saying that Trump killed him, right? And who knows? Maybe it was a Rommel trial. Maybe it was Epstein. Listen, we're gonna give you a noose, and this is how you're gonna do it. We're gonna turn off the cameras for 15 minutes. You got your time, or we're gonna bring you through the ringer, and you're gonna take down all of these powerful people, and they're gonna kill everybody that you've ever loved. Maybe it was a Rommel trial. Do I think so? No. I think it would be way easier to plot his death, make it look like a suicide, extract him as a key witness, because you're going to need that. I mean, you got to remember.
Let me jump in here real quick, because you know I get fired up at this part. This is the part where I get fired up. You have all these clowns that are attacking Trump. Everybody, Newsom, everybody attacking Trump. Everybody's like, we got him dead to rights. Here it is. Here it is. And imagine right before midterms or during midterms, Tulsi Gabbard comes out and says that there's a RICO investigation into the money laundering aspect, the crimes against humanity with Epstein. And everybody's just like, you already released the Epstein files. And then Trump says, but I told you guys that was a hoax thing they did. And everybody's like, oh, you would just say that because you're just trying to protect yourself. And then imagine this mic drop. I'd like to just imagine this mic drop, Josh. We find out that Epstein is testifying as a witness. You want to talk about people losing their effing mind. At that point,
it's game over.
It's game over. At that point, it is a race. At that point, Pelosi's, Schiff's, everybody is trying to, everybody's using speed dial to be like, Trump, I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you everything. Let me go. Make the deal with me. I'll tell you everything. Everybody's racing to do that. To me, that is the Trump card, bro. That is the Trump card.
So this is really interesting. Now, do you know the day Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide and died?
It was August?
August 10th.
Yeah. Okay.
August 10th, 2019. August 10th, 2019. It's interesting because it was August 10th, 2018 is when the Q400 aircraft, Whidbey Island incident, the Q400 did the Q around Ketron Island, flew into Ketron Island, Richard B. Russell. That whole thing was on August 10th. And then a year later on that same date, Epstein committed suicide. Or was it another operation and the date was a signifier to tell us that it was an operation?
You can't overlook that, man.
Nope.
You can't overlook that.
I think that you're right. I think that we're going to see it. I don't know when, so one thing we were talking about earlier, we were talking about the midterms. And the question is how do you awake a sleeping population? Not only a sleeping population, but a sleeping population that have been construed to a nightmare and believing it's real, right? How do you awaken them? Do you do it with shock and awe? Do you do it with gradual release? Or do you do it with something that is so profound that it just can't be ignored, that it's so loud, it's screaming within the public theater that they just have to wake up? And what I think we're about to witness is exactly that. I think that everything that we've seen, the phases that Alpha was breaking down of how the Epstein stuff comes out, this is meant to slowly introduce you to everything, how it worked, money, connections. Right now, before we get into Pizzagate and all this stuff, one thing that everybody knows, whether it's Democrats, Republicans, whether it's just normies, they know that Jeffrey Epstein was directly connected to very, very powerful people. Okay. Now I want this in context because listen, Alfie, if you go back to 2019 and you're in a conversation at a bar with just some random person, don't care of their political affiliation, and you said Jeffrey Epstein, they don't know who the fuck that is.
I didn't know who that was.
They didn't know who that was. They had no clue who Jeffrey Epstein is. Now, Jeffrey Epstein is being murmured and talked about by every single person in this country. If you go to work and you find some rando and you say Jeffrey Epstein, they'll be like, oh, the guy that was really connected to the elites that's proclaimed to be a pedophile. Everybody knows it. Why? Because this was the preparation to bring this whole part to the precipice. Okay. And so what did we just find with this last tranche of emails? So Jeffrey says he wants to go out to a pizza place with you. He did not mention a particular pizza place, but he knows you are in the know on this. Another communication shows sending Epstein a photo of a young woman saying, my grief counselor. then follows up with Super Jew, call me when you awake. These are communications between actor-comedian Bobby Slayton and presumably Jeffrey Epstein. For prosperity, Bobby Slayton has said publicly that they were only acquaintances, not much friends, but these emails say otherwise. And there's massive emails in here where Bobby Slayton to Jeffrey Epstein. And so Bobby says, hello, so he says, Jeffrey says, hello, Bobby. You have been having a great time with your honey, reconfirming you will both be coming to see Jeffrey at 4 p.m. on Tuesday. Bobby replies, leaving tomorrow early. And yes, of course, we'll be there at 4. You need pizza or anything. And then he replies back, Epstein, no, I don't need pizza, but thank you for offering. See you at 4 p.m. Who the fuck? Alpha, hey, man, we're going to go meet in Nashville. Do you need pizza? Pizza, grape soda. Both of those keywords are finding up. In other words, we have the return of Pizzagate. Now, remember, Pizzagate, you went into the news media in 2012 or you went out into a social construct and you said Pizzagate. People are like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. They're not eating babies and they're not doing sacrificial. You're just CNN told me you're a conspiracy theorist, right? But now, after all of this is coming out, and people now have this association. They have Jeffrey Epstein is associated with very wealthy elites. Jeffrey Epstein associated with very wealthy elites. Jeffrey Epstein, yes, he's in that circle. Bill Clinton, all of these people, right? But now you enter Pizzagate. Now you enter ritualistic child sacrifice, adrenochrome, raping and murdering little children and babies. You start to throw that into the mix, and people are like, wait a minute. That's true? Then they remember that conspiracy theory, Pizzagate? They start to put 2 and 2 together and they go, oh, fuck. But think about who just pushed for the release of the Epstein files, because this is the trap. Who just pushed for it? You remember, the trap was Elon, Donald Trump's in the Epstein files. All the Democrats, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files. We want to release. Why? Because they had protection that their stuff wasn't going to get released. But guess what? That 1-2 post you just read right there said, oh, that was a little wink. We have it all. So now the Democrats come out and they're in support of the Epstein files, Epstein victims, all of this. So what happens now when the Democrats and the Republicans are pushing for the release of the Epstein files, and then all of a sudden they come out and it's Pizzagate? All of a sudden they're raping and murdering babies and kids, and all of that stuff begins to come out. Guess what? The Democrats can't hide from it. Now it becomes both sides, left and right. What the fuck just happened? Both sides. So the liberal left over there, right, that were pushing for the release of the Epstein files, they can't ignore this.
They can't. You absolutely, you break, you buy. You break, you buy. Like that's where we're at right now. We're staying on this conversation, but this is the last post that I want to bring up regarding this to add to what I'm saying, because I think this one just solidifies the point that we're talking about here. This is post 3385 for those that want to bring it up on their computers while we do the show. It's dated July 9th, 2019. You didn't think the Epstein investigation began a few months ago, did you? It was all under the direction and oversight of AG Jeff Sessions. Expect a lot more to become public unsealing. Now, just ignore the name Jeff Sessions right now. Just think title. It was all under the direction and oversight of the Attorney General. This goes into my theory on 18 USC 3521. And folks, don't take my word for it. You can go, research that on my timeline. I did, I'll drop it in the comments in the chat here in a moment. But what you'll learn, and some of you, this is going to be repeat information, but it's important because I know we do have new people. We're talking about WITSEC. This is the Witness Protection Program. 18 USC 3521. Here's what's very powerful about this particular WITSEC. There's no judicial oversight. The Attorney General or the Deputy Attorney General are the only people that have to know. That's it. So whether they wanted to do it because they're trying to protect the guy, or whether, because they're bad guys too, or whether they're doing it because it's white hats that want to put them on the shelf later to testify. The point I'm trying to make is it says right here, it was all under the direction and oversight of the Attorney General. That's already a hat tip towards 18 USC 35. That's already telling us the legal authority and where it stands. And of course, there's relevance to the other stuff too. Epstein, you really think that the Epstein investigation began a few months ago? That definitely seems like what we're talking about right now. Like, holy shit. And then here's the part that I like. Expect a lot more to become public.
Mm-hmm.
Unsealing. Isn't that the shit we're living through right now? Like, this is it. Like, this is real time. Here's the context. Context matters. You guys know, I love the fact that Josh keeps us honest with that. And I love the fact that we push that. And I like to see that people on social media have adopted that. Like, it's not just about the post. It's not just about the delta, but give me context. But here we are, man. 3385. Let me turn it over to you. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think that you made a great connection there with Jeff Sessions. There was another post with Jeff Sessions that I'm looking for right now. What? Population start August 2019. This was interesting. Oh, okay. So I'm looking for another post. Okay. Sessions began the Epstein investigation. When that is revealed, those who doubted may see the light. The wheels of justice turn slow, but when they turn, they are powerful. 10 times speed now underway. We are back online. So posting attempted to block. So Sessions began the Epstein investigation. So we all thought it was Bill Barr that went in there and made this deal with Epstein. But what if it was really Jeff Sessions? So there's two posts I wanted to bring up. This is interesting. Now, I'll bring them up here in a second, but you didn't think Epstein's investigation began a few months ago, did you? No, it's been ongoing. Now, what you have to take from that is it wasn't just a DOJ investigation. You remember how Jeff Sessions fits into this. Jeff Sessions was on a few different committees in the Senate. One of them was the Armed Forces Services Committee, which has various different funding oversight for military funding. Specifically is if, let's say that the NSA or the DOD or the DIA wanted to open a special access program and they needed certain funding for that program, how would you get that funding and push it through Senate? Well, you'd need an ally in Senate, and that person was Jeff Sessions. So military is the only way refers to the military intelligence gathering that was being done on all these people after they are identified as hostile actors. So the Epstein investigation didn't begin a few months ago. No, the military has been collecting evidence on this for a very, very long time. It was all under the direction and oversight of AG Jeff Sessions. Now, listen to what that says. Don't worry about AG Jeff Sessions, because at the time this was written we're talking about Attorney General Jeff Sessions. It was his last title, but direction and oversight. Oversight means that there was people working underneath or for Jeff Sessions, and direction means that he kind of ran the program and said, hey, this is what's going on. It doesn't mean that it was done through the DOJ. Expect a lot more public coming, unsealing. That was July 9th, 2019, and it took a little bit of time. Now, I want you to pull up post 4484.
84. Say that one more time.
4484.
4484. All right, let me grab that real quick because I don't want to lose that one. I love the trust sessions. 4484.
Now, do you remember how many times that Q said where is Epstein being held? Where was Epstein arrested?
Mm-hmm.
Every time goes back to New York City. Just read that first part under SDNY.
All right, here we go. Importance of SDNY control, jurisdiction, Wiener evidence collection, Clinton Foundation, Epstein evidence collection, Ukraine, focus on above for now. It sounds like a bunch of RICO cases to me, bro.
It sounds like there's some connection to all of that. How does Epstein fit in with Clinton and Wiener? Well, we know that. How does it fit into Ukraine? Well, did you know that there was emails with Jeffrey Epstein pertaining to the Maidan massacre as well as Ukraine and what's going on in Ukraine?
I did not know
Oh,
that.
yes, there was. So when we start to see, I mean, Alpha, we've nailed this for the longest time, but we talked about FISA equals start. But remember, I said, if we go back, almost 9 months ago, I said, Epstein is the center line that holds it all together. It leads in all the different directions, and you will begin to see this. Why? Because you are opening a door to a very, very dark world where nobody trusts nobody. And here's the thing is that they're very sloppy at how they do things. They've just controlled the power structure for a long time to where they could cover their shit up. But now it's all being exposed. And there's going to be absolutely no way for people to deny what's about to come on them. Bill Clinton. Remember what Bill Clinton just put out a week and a half ago? He put out the letter. Me and Hillary have talked about this, Donald, and you need to release everything because we're not implicated in that. Bill, you're implicated in it.
You're done, bro.
But so that's the thing is now think about that. What did Bill Clinton believe was going to happen? They don't have it. Oh, I was told by the Biden administration that they destroyed everything. Well, guess what? They did destroy everything. But just like the burn bags in the 7th floor of the FBI and secret hidden skiffs and broom closets that don't exist, so does the Epstein documents that were all destroyed under the Biden administration, under the deep state, the military. Going back to what that post just said, do you think that this started with just recently? No, it's been going on for a long time. In other words, the military has had this information for a very, very long time. And they hand it over to Tulsi Gabbard, and Tulsi Gabbard hands it over to Kash Patel, and they throw it into the files, and they say, oh, these were missing files. So look at this. We found them. Here they are. Must have been in a burn bag over at SDNY. So, but this is why I think this is important. 3 weeks ago, Chuck Grassley, Senate, requested directly from the DOJ all information pertaining to the Wiener laptop when they're investigating the Clinton pay-for-play scheme, right? Clinton Foundation is under investigation. Senate is running this. What did that post just say? SDNY control, jurisdiction, Wiener evidence collection, Clinton Foundation, Epstein evidence collection, Ukraine. Focus on above for now. Watch New York City. Okay. And then it says the guard refusing to step down, POTUS refusal to formally nominate. So we've taken over SDNY. What does that mean? That means that all that documentation of all those cases is now coming out. And here's the thing, if they're destroyed, it doesn't matter because the military has it all. Okay. So if the military has it all, now we have those documents again that they believe are destroyed, but we really have them. And so now you can start seeing Wiener evidence come out, Clinton Foundation evidence come out, Epstein evidence connect. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to see some things in these about 3 million emails, 3 million documents that's going to start pointing towards these things. I mean, you had WikiLeaks Podesta leaked emails in the Epstein files.
However you play this out, they're cooked.
Yep.
Like they
got played.
100%.
Yep.
And I mean, I think we've done a phenomenal job of listing out like the most logical, pathway that this is going to go, and they're cooked. But even if you think about some of the other pathways that probably aren't so likely, even then they're still cooked.
Yeah.
Like they got played. There's no way around it, man. And I'm telling you, we've been batting 100. And I think this WITSEC theory is.
Did you see the email in the Epstein? I don't know if this was real. Like, there's a lot of fake shit out there. I saw it. I read it. It was like one of a big account posted it, but that Bill got Hillary pregnant. Did you see this shit?
No, I didn't see that.
Maybe it was fake. Like Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, and like she got pregnant. She was 3 months pregnant or something, and she was yelling at Bill, and it was sent to Jeffrey Epstein.
No,
and
I
it
didn't
was
see that
like they were
one.
laughing about it because Bill got Hillary pregnant.
I saw the one where Epstein's probably Mamdami's dad. I thought that shit was hilarious.
Well, but he did have an
He
an
did.
association to his mom.
He did. That's what I'm saying. The shit's hilarious. There's a lot, and that's why I just give it a couple of days, to see how this cooks. I want to bring up February 1st on the deltas, and the reason being we're talking about AG Jeff Sessions right now.
Yeah,
but and correct me if I'm wrong. The AG when Epstein committed suicide is Bill Barr, and so when we go over here.
These things are so good.
What's that?
They don't sponsor the show, but these things are so good. The bubblies,
What is it?
bubblers.
I've
Dude,
never even
they're-
heard of that.
No sugar, no sugar. It's erythritol, and then you have like Zevia, stevia stuff, right? But these things are so delicious.
Let me find it. I just had it. Hold on.
Drinking my foo drinks.
I'm drinking some good coffee right now. I'm fired up.
Oh, Nicki Minaj tonight. Your
Dude,
favorite
she
artist
is on fire, bro.
You hear what she said? Your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and kill them as a form of blood sacrifice to their god.
All right, here we go.
And wait, who was Nicki Minaj with just a few days ago?
She was at the wedding.
She was with Trump. And now today she's putting that out on the night of the Grammys.
Pray for her safety. Her and 50 Cent. So check out this post right here. This is from today. 3820 for those that want to follow along. It's the 2020s of the year. And it says, here, let me shrink this to make it get a little bit more on the screen. It says, haven't you figured it out yet? It's not about Trump's corruption. It's about making sure you don't find out about their corruption.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that exactly what's been happening today with the Epstein files? Who are they all talking about? Even Massey, and I keep putting them on blast because someone needs to do it. You know, we requested this. No one's above the law, bro. We've had for weeks now the pictures of Bill Clinton with minors or a victim, and you haven't said let's go arrest them, let's investigate them.
Well, no, Todd Blanche actually came out today and said that there's going to be no new arrests pertaining to the release of the latest Epstein files.
Yeah, let me ask you this, and I'm glad you brought that up. I saw they attributed that statement to him. Do you know if he actually said that? Because I went and looked for about an hour after the news broke, but I couldn't find it from him yet.
I actually saw the post of. I actually saw the video. Let me find it.
Okay.
Because it was in my feed earlier.
And let me pull this off. So, and the reason I'm saying is there's going to be some shifts on some stuff, folks. And I want to make sure you guys are all dialed in. Because I'm not very happy with two people right now in the administration. And I think it's going to be time to start applying some we the people political pressure on these people. And I think it's definitely what the president wants from us. So let me know if you find that post, Josh.
Yeah, there's a bunch. Like he had a press conference with all of this.
Because here's the thing, and granted, this was what they were attributing to him as a statement, that he said there's not going to be any new charges. And I found that interesting. And this could be that I'm thinking too much into it,
Yeah.
But if I already have a case going, that's the only time I'm going to say there's not going to be any new charges. If I don't have a pre-existing case, I'm just going to say that there's not going to be any charges. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, well, how about this? Sealed indictments. If the indictments are sealed, they're already charged. They just don't know yet.
There's no new charges. All right, let's see.
Your release on Friday has already received a response from the victims, from Jeffrey Epstein's victims. I want to show the statement right now. It says survivors are having their names and identifying information exposed while the many abusers remain hidden and protected. This is outrageous. The Justice Department cannot claim it is finishing releasing files until every legally required document is released and every abuser and enabler is fully exposed. Will there be more releases?
I mean, look, first of all, we took great pains, as I explained on Friday, to make sure that we protected victims. This was we are talking about a review of 3.5 million pieces of paper that were released on Friday. Every time we hear from a victim or their lawyer that they believe that their name was not properly redacted, we immediately rectify that. And the numbers we're talking about, just so the American people understand, we're talking about 0.001% of all the materials. And we knew this. I said this on Friday, that of course the nature of this type of review is so the volume of materials that were reviewed, that there would be times when this happened. And so we're working hard to make sure that we fix that. And I expect that will continue.
Will more documents be
Massive echo. Sorry, guys.
We have released, there are a small number of documents, as I said on Friday, that we're waiting for a judge to say we're allowed to release because of a protective order. But this review is over. I mean, we reviewed over 6 million pieces of paper, thousands of videos, tens of thousands of images, and which is what the statute required us to do. You know, it's interesting. Leadership on the Hill, Congressman Massey, Senator Schumer are quick to complain. There is no way they have spent any time looking at the materials we produce, because I know the materials we produced them on Friday. By Saturday, they're already complaining about what we did. And by the way, apparently Massey and others wrote a letter to come and review unredacted materials. I didn't get that letter yet. They leaked it to the press before they actually sent it to me. But yeah, that's absolutely totally fine. We have nothing to hide. We have nothing to hide. We never did. And our doors are open if they want to come and review any of the materials that we produced.
Oh, he didn't say it. Well, that was the title of the post, and it was supposed to be in there. But basically, they're saying that they're not releasing anything else. They're not releasing anything else, is from what I get.
Here's the thing that's interesting. In the first dump, we had 1 million documents, right? Was it 1 million or 2 million? I think it was a million.
It was 1 million.
It was 1 million. On this one, it's 3.5 million. So I'm doing Marine Corps math here. You guys know I chew crayons. That's 4.5, right?
Yep.
And in the video, he says, we've reviewed 6 million documents with the Epstein case. So that tells me there's still 1.5 million documents left.
There's a lot. There's a massive amount of documents left. And you got to remember, remember when they released the last tranche of information, and then they pushed for more, and then all of a sudden, what did Donald Trump say at the end of the year in 2025? Oh, and good news, we just found 3.5 million new documents of the Epstein files over at SDNY, and we're going to get those released.
Well, here's the other important part, and I've talked about this, and I've tagged Massey on this. Now, here's something interesting. A lot of people that go and give Massey the same kind of shit I do, he blocks them. He will block me. Now, I'm glad, you know what I mean? But I'm just like, I wonder why he doesn't block me. It's interesting to me. But here's the point I'm trying to make. Massey is aware. There's 3 reasons, right, that they don't have to provide information. That information involves a minor, it involves a victim, or an active investigation.
Yep.
So if there's an active investigation going on, then you don't have to give that information up yet.
Right. And from what I gather with what Todd Blanche said today, is he says there's going to be no new charges from the documents that were released today.
Wordplay matters with these guys.
Words matter, guys.
Well, let's shift gears here because I want to make sure.
And by the way, I'll throw this out there for everybody who's wondering. Is if we get through 4 years of the Trump administration and nobody's held accountable, I assure you we won't get through 4 years of the Trump administration. I'll just give that little hint there, okay? Because at some point in time, people are going to say, okay, it's time for justice to occur, right? Founding father style. At least that's my thoughts. I think that is a true statement. That's not a threat or a warning or anything like that. This is just a true statement of understanding. And I know that the Trump administration understands this as well. Is if there is no accountability, you're going to have a civil war. And it's not going to be Republicans versus Democrats. It's going to be the people versus them.
And they know that.
And they know that.
They know, and that's why they're doing this. They're constantly monitoring the temperature of the populace to see at what speed they're going, which is, and we'll tap on this at the end of the night, why everybody has an individual responsibility. But before we get into the questions and statements from the audience from the last show, I want to talk a little bit about Bongino, because he's making his return debut tomorrow. I feel like you found something. Did you find something? You're smiling, man. When you smile like that, it's like, come on.
Donald Trump posted an hour ago. Not an hour ago. Well, we were live February 2nd, 12:01 a.m. Central, so 1:01 a.m. The Grammy Awards are the worst, virtually unwatchable. What have we been talking about this whole show? Epstein, right? CBS is lucky not to have this garbage litter their airwaves any longer. The host, Trevor Noah, whoever he may be, is almost as bad as Jimmy Kimmel and the low ratings Academy Awards. Noah said incorrectly about me that Donald Trump and Bill Clinton spent time on Epstein Island. Wrong. I can't speak for Bill, but I have never been to Epstein Island, nor anywhere close. And until tonight's false and defamatory statement, have never been accused of being there, not even with the fake news media. Noah, a total loser, better get his facts straight and get them straight fast. It looks like I'll be sending my lawyers to sue his poor, pathetic, talentless dope of an MC and suing him for plenty of money. Ask little George Slopadopoulos and others how that all worked out. Also, ask CBS, get ready, Noah. I'm going to have some fun with you, President DJT. But I found it interesting that he had to mention the Epstein files and Epstein Island.
Until now.
Yep.
And here's the point, is you had people, he let everybody run their mouths and talk their shit today. And he waited till the end of the day. You said 12:01, right? Or 1:01?
It was 1:01, yeah.
So he literally waited until the end of the day to let everybody talk their shit, because what's the excuse everybody always says? Well, if you got nothing to hide, sue me. Sue me. Let's go to discovery. Yep. And what did Trump just say? Bitch, you're gonna see my lawyers. And so what he's rug pulling every avenue that they think that they have to attack him. I mean, the shit, the guy's a genius, bro. He's an absolute genius, which leads us. I mean, this is actually a great.
And you know what Post 101 is, right?
What's Post 101?
Just find it interesting.
All right, let me.
You'll know what this is. I got it right here. You'll know this immediately.
Oh, yes, baby. Oh, yeah.
So, well, and that's the map. And so, an island you can find on a map, right?
Right.
So, I've never been to Epstein Island, anything close, not too nice. Okay. So, I don't know. I just thought that I think there's importance here, but we can come back to you and I can discuss all this.
Remind me of a funny joke at the end of the show. Hopefully I'll remember it. But here's the thing. It is a good segue into Bongino. Way back when we first found out that Bongino had been offered the job for deputy director of the FBI and that he had accepted, before he was even sworn in, we already made the statements. It's going to be a temporary assignment. He's not going to go long term with this. And a lot of that was just based off the sheer, his health. He's a cancer survivor. That's a very stressful job. That level of stress is not something that you want, with somebody who's beaten cancer or going through cancer. It's not. So we knew that it was a temporary window from 1.5 years to 2 years. And so we're at that year mark and he comes out now. And we've kind of talked about why deploy him early. And he said exactly what we said. I mean, you would think we were on a personal call, Zoom call with Bongino, because before he ever said the reasoning, we said he's going to come out because you have a lot of people that betrayed President Trump and betrayed MAGA that are large influencers. And this guy has a huge audience. And he's going to come out. He has millions of followers and he's going to be a weaponization against that narrative. Bongino comes out a few days after we talk about that. And what does he say? I'm going after all the fucking black pillars. It's like mic drop, like shit. Just chalk up another one to freaking Josh and Al.
I don't know what I think Bongino is right now. You remember Kash Patel said that he completed his mission, and you got to wonder, why would Bongino be leaving right now? And look what's happened already since the beginning of the year to current with the Trump administration. We're in full gear, right? Shit's about to hit the proverbial fan, as in things are about to happen. So who is Bongino? Bongino is exactly what you just said. That one person that can get in front of millions upon millions of people, the message that you cannot ignore. Okay? And Bongino's this is my thought. He is the one that comes into the city before the army arrives. And he says, hey, just letting you guys know, the army's coming and they're going to destroy all of you. And all the soldiers are like, get out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, I'm telling you, I'm just a rider. I'm just a messenger. He's the messenger. He's about to lay it out there. Oh, you don't think there's a rest coming? Just wait. Why? This is game theory. You are limiting your opponent's choices and decisions and what they're going to do next. How? Well, why does that matter? Because if they have a playbook and their playbook is organized in a certain fashion and you know the playbook, then game theory becomes your best strategic weapon against them. What do I mean by that? When Bongino comes out and says, guys, you don't understand how bad it was, what they were doing, but we figured it out. We know everything. We have it all. This is being investigated. And I assure you that arrests for the 2020 election are coming. Arrests for FISA are coming. Arrests for the Clinton Foundation. Guess what happens? The decisions of those actors that are listening, the bad guys, the Obamas and the Brennans, when they listen to that, for them, it is, okay, now it's time to go find somebody and tell them my side of the story and make a deal. Now it's time to start singing. Now it's time for the little guys that are in the midst. And then Bongino says something like, oh, and they're not just going after the big players, Obama. They're going after everybody underneath them that took orders all the way down. Now those people start coming out. Why is that? Because that's game theory. Because those people are going to come forward. I want to make a deal. Listen, I know you probably don't know who I am, but I was a part of this. I was associated with this. This is what happened. I just need to tell you that because I don't want to go to jail. That's what's about to happen. This is why Bongino is coming back on the scene. He's the messenger, the last herald before Christ comes back, okay? He is about to come out and say, listen, motherfuckers, we caught you. We have it all. We're investigating it, and you're about to see what we know, and the world's about to see what we know, and those people are going to start shitting their pants, panic in D.C. Wait, don't we have a panic in D.C. Delta coming up in the next few days?
We do.
We actually do. Wait,
we do.
Holy shit. You're about to see true panic in DC. Is it tomorrow?
I think it's the 3rd. Let me look.
It is the 3rd, yeah. Nope, not 4th, maybe. No, it was the 2nd. No.
It is tomorrow then. Tomorrow's the 2nd.
It's not, I got nothing coming up in the 2nd.
Oh, the 2nd. Let me go to the 3rd.
5th. There it is. 38-31. So I want people to start seeing that Bongino isn't coming back to tell you what they discovered and how it's going. He's coming back to let the deep state, the corrupted, know what they have and what they're doing.
Let me just read it for the audience because it's so good. People actually believe those responsible for the attempted coup attempt of a duly elected sitting U.S. president will go unpunished. Into our constitutional republic, no equal justice under law, no accountability, escape unscathed. Buckle up. He's gonna bring fire, bro.
Dude, hold on a second here.
What?
Now, so I need to find out from Brad or somebody who created that panic in DC meme. I think it came directly from Q and the Q boards. The reason I say that is when you zoom into that meme,
the shaded word at the top.
Well, yeah. So there's like you see like shaded words at the top there.
Yeah, it's like redacted documents. Oh shit! Is that what you're?
No. What I'm actually going to show you, because this is, what year was this?
Well, hold on. These came out. You just made me think of something, and I want to show you too and get your.
So if you look here, there's this like gibberish right here. You go down here, and there's gibberish right here. Those are called AI artifacts, which means that if this was in 2020, AI wasn't where it is today. You couldn't do this with AI. But if this is an AI generated image, that becomes significant.
Well, let me bring this up. Why are we saying there's going to be panic in DC? What are we talking about right now?
Bongino.
No. Well, before Bongino, what have we been talking about?
Accountability. Epstein. Yeah, Epstein.
And what is Massey complaining about with these documents? That they're what? There's too many redactions and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
So let me bring up the Panic in DC post big. Look at the background. It says top secret.
Yep, and it's crossed out.
And it's just it's a document that's just redacted. It's
Right.
almost like it's saying that the Epstein is what's going to create the panic in DC, the redacted documents.
I just put the original image from the Q boards into an AI checker. Very likely AI generated, or at least AI assisted.
Yeah, because I see the gibberish right here where my mouth is.
And in 2020, how much AI did we have?
I don't remember there being AI.
None.
In 2020.
None.
Yeah.
You didn't have it, which means that who had it?
Government.
Someone who's posting on the boards, obviously.
I just want to make sure the audience understands. When we're talking about the gibberish, we're talking about the letters that AI doesn't know how to make, so it makes it look like, a letter hieroglyphic mix. You can kind of see it right here. Up here, you got the no
But
form.
then in that time, we wouldn't have known what that was.
No, we haven't been exposed to it yet.
But now we do, and now we're looking at it. Oh, that's interesting, because that goes into the whole fucking AI utilization of bringing about the Q posts and all that stuff. But oh, that's crazy. But yeah, dude, for everybody out there, my thoughts are Bongino isn't coming out here to talk to you, the normie. He is that person that is going to talk to the black pillars, the FAGA. He's going to talk to the deep state, and he's going to say, motherfuckers, this is what we got. We got it all. And yes, there's investigations. And yes, you're going to see arrests. And oh, yes, it's going to be glorious. And they're going to be like, oh, shit, panic in DC. And what are they going to do? They're going to start making phone calls and I need to come in. I need to talk. James Comey's going to be like, I need to come back in and talk to you. John Brennan's going to be like, okay, just take me now. This is where I think we're coming into, guys.
I'm going to bring up the questions right now. Let us take care of that. Let me bring this up. Sorry about that, folks. Very important matters being handled while we do these shows. So here we go. The questions. If this is the first time you've watched Q After Hours, this is one of the things that's unique to this show that we don't do with DEFCON. And if you guys got any questions, whether it's about something that happened in that show, just something general you want to ask us, this is the opportunity. We're on Rumble. We don't do it on YouTube or X. But if you go to the Rumble page and you go to the comment section, and it does help when you start off with question, like you see on some of these posts, it just kind of allows us to find them. There's a couple hundred that are in there, and we wish we can get to all of them, but we can't. But this is a way if you want to participate that. Do those in tonight's show, and then next week we'll grab those from this show. So hopefully that made sense because we're tired. But here's question number 1. And this comes from Tammy Holland. It says, question, do you believe this story? It's being reported on many boob tube channels. I trust your insight. And so what she was referring to is this show. It's a 10-minute segment. Trump launches major military strike, leader eliminated. And the answer to this is yes. This was indeed a true statement. Oh, you guys can't see because I don't have this up on the screen. So let me.
Yeah, I was wondering what you're talking about.
Let me switch to this one, then I'll go back. Here we go. So it says breaking: Trump launches major military strike, leader eliminated. And this was regarding this, and this was the Operation Hawkeye strike. And yes, indeed, it was true. When you come down here, I believe it specifically talks about where is it? Where they took him out on January. Here we go. January 10th, 2026 at about 12:30 p.m. Eastern the U.S. and Jordan launched a second wave of airstrikes against Islamic State targets in Syria, striking over 35 targets using over 90 precision munitions. According to a U.S. official, over 20 aircraft were involved, reportedly including F-15Es, A-10s, AC-130Js, MQ-9s, and Jordanian F-16s. Casualty figures and locations of the strikes remained unclear. And then on January 16th, the United States conducted another retaliatory strike in northwestern Syria, killing Bilal Hassan al-Jazmin, a senior leader of Al-Qaeda affiliated group who was linked to the December 13th ambush. So yes, indeed, that was a true statement. And let me switch documents and go back to the questions. And then after that, we'll get to the Rumble rants. All right, so here we go. Next one, Kick Dreaming says, crimes against children unite all humanity. Josh, any thoughts on that? And shout out Elmi Evans, gifted 5 subscriptions to Badlands. Thank you for that.
Crimes against children unite all of humanity. Q. I agree with that statement. Is that the moment that you start doing evil to kids, you get the attention of even Democrats. And this is one of the reasons why I think a lot of the psychological manipulation and the social constructed synthetic narrative that's been pushed on the Democrats or the left, for that instance, the psychological warfare has been to how do you say it? Has been to disregard and disrespect life. Is to have no bearing on life. Like, when does life start and the toddler begin, right? Like, you have these people that are just sick in the context of abortion. And then you have people that are sick in the context of what life actually is. You know, this is the whole atheist perspective, that it's just a bag of meat and some, chemicals that make it all happen. Dehumanization has been happening for a long time within the left and the right, for that instance. But this is what I think brings it back full circle.
I agree with you completely. Next one comes from Mag50. Question: do you believe this is a movie and many are actors wearing masks or leveraged to do what they are told in Congress and other places? Some things appear so fabricated while others appear so random. Please clarify this for many of us. I'm torn from watching so much crazy. I'll kick this one off and I'll be quick about it. Give it to you. Listen, the CIA has already come out and declassified documents. Yes, there have been masks used for politicians for decades. There's been body doubles used for decades. So yes, that's factual. That's nothing new. Now, are we talking here about people being captured and this is what's going on? Potentially, yeah, it's possible. I think in some situations it probably is being deployed. I completely am opposed to the thought, and I think Josh might agree with me on this one. I don't know, so I won't speak for him. I'm completely against the idea that we have won this war already, that there's no threat that exists against the Republic or humanity, and that everybody's already been taken to Gitmo, killed, and we're seeing body doubles. I do not subscribe to that theory. And one of the reasons I do not subscribe to that theory is because I know people firsthand, and I've had relatives that died during the evolution of this operation. And if your theory is that everything was in control and we just allowed innocent people to die, well, then there's an accountability that falls with that, which would land on the shoulders of President Trump. So what I think is there are aspects of things that are in control. I think there are aspects of where certain people are being used, or body doubles being used, or an infiltration, things like that. I do believe that there are specific situations where that's happened. I don't think that this entire thing is done and over with.
So my biggest argument to it is, why? What's the purpose? Because I get told all the time, well, Joe Biden was actually, killed before the inauguration, and the good guys replaced him with a clone. And I said, well, that clone didn't do very well, because you had the whole entire military vaccinated. You had 23 million illegal immigrants that flowed over our southern border, and then in the U.S. states, you had the worst economic state, massive Democrat corruption. So why? What's the purpose of it? If we're going to take out those bad actors and replace them with clones or wear a mask, why? Like,
And
if
to
you
that
can give me a
point,
good reason to why, then I'll try to accept some of that.
yeah, and to that point, I see someone in the chat, and this is not a pick on you, Q-list, because a lot of people have presented to me, well, there's casualties of war. I 100% agree.
Agreed.
When there's a war.
John McCain.
Yeah.
George Bush Sr.
Yeah, and so I agreed. Do innocent people die during war? 100% I agree with that. But if you're saying it's already over and that this entire thing is just theatrics, well, then that means innocent people are not justifiably dying because the war's already over. And so that's the part. I did a post tonight that it took less than 30 minutes before I got some nasty grams in the DMs, which was expected, and that's fine. And we could probably address that on DEF CON so we can get through these questions. But that's my position, and looks like we're kind of on the same page with that one.
We're not watching a movie that's already happened. We're just going through the motions. There is a very real war. There is moves and counter moves, and we still live in a point in time to where if we lose this, it could mean the end of America and the end of our way of life. But not only that, the end of all of us.
Yeah. I see Jerry's Org Dragger says, you're watching a movie, it's all done. And I don't know if you're being sarcastic, funny, or you really subscribe to that. But if that's the case, then why are people still afraid? Why are people still being hurt? Why are people still dying? Why are we still looking for 100,000 missing kids? We've recovered a significant amount of them. Hats off to the DOJ, the FBI, HSI, CBP that have all done that. But if we're just watching a movie, then why are there still over 100,000 kids still missing? And nobody's going to justify that answer for me. MKS108 says, Trump can't step aside till the military civilian leadership is in place and he establishes a legitimate election process. His 85% followers will not agree with him leaving as they trust no one else at this point. I mean, the biggest point here that I agree with is the election process has to be fixed. Period. I mean, it just, everything else is in vain if we don't secure that. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, brother.
Well, number one, saying that Trump can't step aside till the military civilian leadership is in place. The military, listen, you make a good point here. The problem with our country is not the government. It's the people. It's the people forgot how to be the government. And we are slowly going through the process of relearning this, of holding our representatives responsible, of representatives even thinking about paying attention to their constituents. See, the people are an integratory part of the government of the United States of America. And the one thing that this country has lost is the people basically declining from descending to, leaving politics. And that happened through their own manipulation. Don't get me wrong. But this is the point, I think, of what we're going through right now, is that we all have to rise back up and get involved. We all have to be a integral part of this administration, whether we realize it or not. Because in order for America to survive, in order for a post-Trump United States of America, the people have to lead the way. The people have to be the guardians and the overwatch that occur in their local areas, in their regions, in their districts. There is no ifs, ands, or buts, because if you don't do it, nobody else will. And you have to have that mentality, because the fate of the United States of America is truly at hand with everything that is coming forth, and that our republic will die a very, very painful death if the people are not an integrated part of their government.
There's no exception to that. We've talked enough offline. I 100% agree with that position. Next comes Mary J AI or Mary J, maybe just Mary J. and says, question, what do you think the white rabbits in the creepy pedo art represent? I'm aware of adrenochrome and the chemical composition. I'm speaking directly about the art that depicts men in rabbit costumes, sometimes with kids in cages. Now, I'll let you fire off on this one if you want, because I was in a space a few days ago where was roughly brought up, not specifically the way Mary J's bringing it up here, but it led down the conversation of, do people know what the Cabbage Patch dolls really stood for? And I didn't realize that there's a whole conspiracy to that. I was like, wait, the stuff I was listening to, and literally I was working on an article and I just paused. I was like, what the hell are you guys
Wasn't it child like mutilation and testing and
all the way from the birth certificates to all this stuff? It was wild. And so I was like, you know what, this is a great
Black
conversation.
conspiracy?
It absolutely is. And that's kind of where this went. So I wanted to bring that up, but I definitely was curious to if you had something on this right here.
Well, rabbits symbolically represent mating and fertility, right? The F like a rabbit, all these types of things, but they represent mating and fertility. So, what do you think the white rabbits and the creepy pedo art represent? It represents taking somebody down a rabbit hole. So, a lot of these sickos, they utilize symbolic representation from Alice in Wonderland. And so the white rabbit is what travels down into Wonderland, travels down the rabbit hole. And then also, obviously, you mentioned the chemical correspondence to adrenochrome. I think that those two are the main parts of what the rabbit represent, especially in that artwork.
Yeah, the when I saw the shape of the chemical composition, I was like, dang, like that one's pretty obvious. But no, I definitely agree with that. Next one comes in from C Chicky One. It says, this is my favorite episode based on the paranormal discussion. Totally my wheelhouse. My whole life, Alpha and Josh, please do a whole episode on your experiences. Please. I feel like we're getting ready to, we're going to address this here shortly, folks. We'll pause that one because we're going to talk about that one. So we'll keep going to Clebart. Says, keep up the great work, guys. I hope I live to see the country survive. My cancer is getting the best of me right now. The fight is on. And what I'll say to that, Clebart, is stay in the fight, take care of everybody, eat healthy, get some of them mushrooms. I'm serious, get some of those mushrooms. And we'll go from there. And then this brings us to the last one. This one comes from Vic D. Lee 27.
Alpha, you're a douchebag.
Alpha, you're a douchebag for mocking Asians in your ad. Surprised you do that. I'm also a Marine and my parents are from Korea. I don't think I'd diss an entire race for an ad, but I haven't been put in that position, so I couldn't tell you for sure. I don't think I'd sit there and diss Latinos for a degrading ad like that.
Well, did they not see Jerome? Did they not see Jerome? Or he's done it to black people. He had blackface. He did it to Jews. He ain't stopping with just one race. He's going after them all, guys.
Sir, I'm so sorry for offending you, sir. My apologies. Bro, come on. If you're a fucking Marine, where did your pair go? We made fun of everybody in the Marine Corps. Everybody. And one, I've made fun of part of my own culture with Mexicans, like Josh said. We got Jew Rome. We had what was the Alpha Allah Akbar?
Yeah,
we had Alpha
Akbar. Yeah,
Alpha Akbar. Yeah, we had that one. Jew Rome really, that one really pushed the envelope. I mean, that one was wild. It's comedy, and it's and not to pick on you, Vic D. Lee, that maybe there's more to your story, and that's why things may have hit a nerve for you. But here's the thing, bro. It's is there's humor. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, um, and culture jokes, what people would call racism. It was the funniest shit that was out there. If you're doing racist jokes because you want to hurt people, then yeah, I'll say you're probably an asshole.
Mhm.
But if you're exploiting the extremes of our culture because of comedy, guess what? Laughter heals the heart. So I would just say, Vic D, oh, I'm so sorry, but I'm not going to stop. So screw pair, man. Fucking Marine Corps. I expect more from you. So with that takes us back to
You're gonna get sued. He's a lawyer. He's one of the old few Marines that made it through law school.
Right. So this is my favorite episode based on the paranormal discussion. Totally my wheelhouse, my whole life. Alpha and Josh, please do a whole episode on these experiences. Should we let the cat out of the bag now, or should we do Rumble rants first? I'll let you decide.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. This Thursday, Alpha and Josh are collaborating on another show. That's right. You guys heard it. This Thursday in the evening time. I don't know if we picked the time yet. Did we?
No. I think you said
because I have to wait till I'm done with
10 p.m. my time. So it's 11 p.m. Eastern,
8 o'clock
p.m. Central.
Yeah.
Yep.
So 8 Pacific, 10 Central, 11 Eastern. Yes. There we go. We have a new show. Should we tell them the title?
Well, I think they can kind of get it from here. Yeah, but go ahead.
They can? Oh.
What's the title?
Oh shit. Dude, you're quick.
You never saw that?
I didn't even catch that, bro. Talk about attention to detail. What a shitty detective I made tonight. Well played, Josh. Well played. So, new show coming out. It starts on Thursday, folks. Overwatch and the Guardian. And I'll tell you what, man. Shout out to our boy Nate.
You guys are gonna love the intro.
You guys are gonna love the intro. This dude is he is legendary when it comes to this stuff. And I think you guys are gonna have a lot of fun. It's different from these other shows. And if you want to know what it's gonna be about, you guys got to tune in. It'll be simulcast on my show, on Josh's show. And if we can get it done in time, it's gonna have its own independent YouTube channel, its own X channel, its own Truth channel. All that. So hopefully we can lock all that stuff in. But at the very least, it's definitely going to air on our two channels. So Overwatch and the Guardian, it's going to be fun. What do you want?
Dynamic duo.
The dynamic duo. It is going to be awesome. So I'll let you talk about it a little bit more if you want while I bring up these Rumble rants.
Yeah, no. So guys, it's going to be fun. And trust me, when I say this, you are going to absolutely laugh your ass off, but love at the same time the intro. I wish I could play it for you now, but no, I'm not going to. I'm going to make.
I know. I want to so bad, but no.
I want to play it so bad, but you guys are gonna have to wait till Thursday. But understand that you have to be following Alpha or myself on our respective channels, primarily Rumble right now, to get into that. So Red Pill Project on Rumble. If you need to get there, redpills.tv, that's my website, or alphawarrior.tv. You can find him linked up there, or just go to our Rumbles. But make sure you're subscribed over there, because Thursday night, and it's going to be different. We're not talking about Q. We call this the normie show. This is where we take high level complexities of everything that's going on in the world, and we talk about it on a very normie basis. We're talking just real stuff to real people, man. That's what it's about. And I want people who understand that to chime in. That one thing that I think we've all been reminded about is that the majority of the people in the world, in the country, have no clue what's going on in the world. They're not all you. They haven't all figured it out, right? We don't know everything. And so, when, like I was talking about earlier, is back in 2019, if you said Jeffrey Epstein, nobody knew who the hell the man was. You say Jeffrey Epstein today, everybody knows who he is and who he was associated with. And that was the psychological warfare, the 3 to 4 phases of the Trump administration and the release of these documents, because it built up that momentum. It got everybody to understand and know and learn who Jeffrey Epstein was. The Netflix documentary came out at the same time. Now, all of a sudden, what? They're eating babies? Yes, that's exactly how this operates. And so we have to get a lot of normies caught up. And so there's going to be a lot of normie talk. And I mean by normie talk is that it's going to be a lot of breaking down simple things, but we're also going to be doing parts of what we call black box conspiracy. So we're going to be every once in a while, we're going to jump in, we're going to do black box conspiracies where we'll talk about the paranormal experiences. This is going to be good. It's an official collaboration between Alpha and Josh, or the Guardian and Overwatch, or Overwatch and the Guardian. So you guys we're gonna have some fun with it. There's gonna be tons of different content. It's not always gonna be news. It's not always gonna be what's happening in the world. It's not always gonna be psychological warfare. Sometimes it's gonna be, dude, let's talk aliens. Let's talk AI. Let's talk occult.
You might even see us on location in some of these places.
That's right.
It's gonna be so. It's gonna be so much fun. You guys are gonna love it. I promise you guys are gonna love it. So do us a solid, spread the word. And for Thursday. And hold on, I gotta our boy from Vegas. He got one wrong. He's been texting me tonight, and he says, this goes back to earlier in one of our ads, where I was like, is it turmeric or is it tamarick? Yeah. And he says it's pronounced turmeric. No, brother, that's something completely different. That's a season. Okay, we're not talking about turmeric. Okay?
He's talking about turmeric.
Yeah. So you got that one wrong. And then he says, will the new show be a paranormie show? Paranormie.
Yeah, I guess it'd be a paranormie.
You definitely have some of that stuff that's in there. Okay. I thought he was still messaging, but he's not.
Well, I lost a lot of respect for your buddy in Las Vegas. Jeez.
It's too. I had to put him on blast, man. I had to put him on blast with on. All right, you guys, it's Rumble Rants time. Let's do this. Let's do like Kim K. Start from the bottom. Now we're her. $20 coming in from Noni Genie. Looking forward to this spectacular duel. Missing Brad, but happy for the spicy duel. Yeah, and make sure you guys are supporting Brad and all the other stuff that he does out there. The dude works freaking hard while taking care of a family. Dollar for dollar, Keith O'Higgins. Alpha. Oops, where'd it go? It is Black History Month. Bring on the spook stories, brother.
You gotta watch before you read Keith O'Higgins.
Yeah, I'm lost on that one, Keith. $20 coming in from Atomic Blonde. Let's go, y'all. It's about time. And that one came in right around the time where you probably, if you're watching on YouTube or X, you're like, why the hell's this intro play 3 times? We were trying to buy time because we're trying to get it to go live on Rumble. So Rumble folks,
we couldn't because somebody went over 7 minutes.
Somebody. So on Rumble, you're like, what the hell are you guys talking about? We went live at exactly midnight, and so the folks over there on X and YouTube just kept seeing the Badlands,
yeah,
going over and over. Me and Josh were just laughing our asses off. So thanks for sticking around and enduring that, folks. Dollar for dollar, Sleep State. I recommend this show. Q After Hours. Thank you. Episode 15. I love that. $10 coming in from Gma 99 inches. God bless you guys. Let's go, Patriots. Let's go. Dollar for Keith O'Higgins. It makes me nervous. Josh, the same gang of 8 made sure that the Steele dossier wasn't given to the Trump campaign in 2016. Those defensive briefings after the RNC nomination were the crux of Bongino's Spygate book.
Yep. Well, the same gang of 8, I mean, it wasn't declassified at that point in time. So I think that's important context. Remember, it was leaked in December from one of the gang of 8 members, and that was John McCain.
Our Vegas boy is trying to defend himself, but it's too late. Continue on, Keith again. Dollar for dollar, Keith O'Higgins. I was hoping for a 6 million document dump, if not 17 million.
Ooh.
What ain't over yet, Keith? It ain't over yet. $10 from NC Cheney. 107 told us who is Antichrist. Rothschild banking system is the beast battle of Armageddon, is the scare event. Save humanity with the Ark of the Covenant. You're welcome. Yippee-ki-yay, like the cowboy hat. $20 from PS Farm Girl. This is the greatest time to be alive. Hey guys, where do you find the release documents? I will drop that unless somebody already has it and you guys want to drop it in the chat. But I will drop it in the comments after the show because I have it in my bookmarks. And all you have to do is just go and copy it and you can save it. But somebody might beat me to it. And if that's the case, that's okay. Dollar for dollar, NC Cheney. Wait, what day did Sessions get relieved? November 2018 before Q posted about AG Sessions in 2019? Or did I miss up the Q posts? Hold on.
Get relieved. Yeah, it was November 29 before Q posted about AG Sessions in 2000. Yeah, so Q was still posting about AG Sessions in 2019. That's why I said AG Sessions is a good guy. Nobody's heard from him since February 2021.
Trust Sessions. $20 coming in from Gallant One. Concerning the AI image, future proves past. I mean, I like it. I like it. I like where your head's at, Gallant. Dollar from Keith O'Higgins. I always thought Chuck Schumer's niece, Amy Schumer, was a real life Cabbage Patch doll. Just saying. There's no way they're really related, are they?
They're not. No, they're not.
This Keith screwing with us? Okay. $10 from FTW 1976. Duality, but not good, bad. Balance controllers. Love two birds with one stone. Usually any action, anti-God and extorting money. Pattern. Cabbage doll equals repop or repop.
Repopulation, the last reset. Incubator babies, World Fair.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, the Cabbage Patch thing is wild.
I've never heard of it. I'd never heard it.
Dude, it's wild. It's the stuff that's just like, bro, we, families and cousins were playing with all those damn things. It's just, that's going to be a fun one. I can't wait till we do a show on it. Dollar per dollar, Trump Pinnit 17. So was the Boss Truth post from yesterday the proclamation before the Insurrection Act?
Yep.
I mean, I think Insurrection Act's going to be used when we get to California. I mean, I could be wrong, but we were right about it not being used in Minnesota. We were accurate on that, and a lot of other people weren't.
And I said he was going to rug pull Minnesota. He's going to, we're going to de-escalate. I posted it the day before. De-escalate. Boom.
And just remember, folks, all those people out there who told you he's going to do it, he's going to do it. And these two guys were like, I don't think he's doing it on Minnesota. I don't think so. And we're going to make some people mad. I just better stop. $10 from Mary J1 again. Thank you for reading my question. I'm thinking the rabbit costume wearers represent the child tormentors. Love to you both. Thank you, Mary J. Again, from dollar from Trump Pinnit 17. Did y'all check out Drop 365 on Trump's 365th day into his third term? I like what you did there, especially with what happened on Air Force One. I know we covered that drop. We didn't do it reference it being its 365th day, but we did reference the event that took place on Air Force One. Remember the whole turnaround and the back that post came up when we were doing that. Dollar for dollar, Keith O'Higgins. Grok says Amy and Chuck are related. I like what you did there, folks. If you don't know, and I think Keith O'Higgins was giving us the ammo. Just because Grok tells you doesn't mean that it's accurate, folks. Make sure you are fact checking the stuff Grok is saying before you put it out there, so it doesn't hurt your credibility or make you look foolish.
Actually, Alpha.
Are they really related?
Amy Schumer is Chuck Schumer's first cousin once removed.
Really?
Amy Schumer's father and Chuck Schumer are first cousins. This makes Chuck one generation above Amy in the family tree, first cousin once removed.
That's pretty funny. Well, My apologies, Keith. You were actually being authentic. Don't blame me for not trusting you, Keith.
Yeah, Keith, we can't,
Don't blame me for not trusting you. However, it doesn't change my position just because Grok says it, folks. Make sure you vet that stuff, at least with the important things. And I would recommend Perplexity or ChatGPT 5.2 would be mine. I can't believe they're related. That's fucking weird.
It is weird.
Okay, man. Anything you got going on that you want to talk about before we call it a night?
No, gonna be a good week. I think that. So I saw a lot of people talking about gold and silver and Bitcoin and all this stuff. Guys, I love you all. I know that you guys were all like. So I did I did a show last week.
I feel like I told you so coming. I just feel it.
Hardcore.
I just feel it.
I did a show the other night and on my channel, and I said, listen, there's a lot of reasons why, and I was talking about gold and silver, and I said, look, everything's gonna drop. I told everybody Bitcoin's gonna go down at about 68 to 72,000. I said, gold and silver, you're gonna get rug pulled, and I said, listen, this is what I would do. I would take profits right now. Alpha, I had comments, I had messages, I had DMs. You don't know what you're talking about. This is it. This is happening, and silver's going to go to the moon, and you're wrong. The next day, I posted out all those people's comments, and I said, "Told you so." And the reason I told you so is because I've been doing this for a very long time in the financial systems. People, you and me, we don't control the financial markets. Large financial institutions control the financial markets. And when gold starts going $5,000, $6,000 and silver is at $120, financial institutions, unless they're making money off of it, are only going to keep it there until they're no longer making money off of it. And then they move it back down because everything is dependent upon making money, not making money. Okay. And I understand, like, I've been doing economics since 2010, dude, like running trading, investing courses and mastermind groups. And I have been spot on with Bitcoin. And I've been pretty knowledgeable of what's happening with silver and gold. Now, is silver and gold going to go up some more? Yeah, they're going to go back up. But if you took my advice last week, you would have cashed out some massive profits and would have been able to buy in double what you had before. And guess what? My buddy even called me up. He's like, I took profits. Holy shit. I'm like, told ya.
I think I specifically remember saying, Josh, we use an example, if you had this much money in, you had that much, take out what you invested.
Yep. So take out your original. So every time that I take, so if you have a massive gain, so silver, most people are getting a 4x return. So if you put in $100,000, you probably have $400,000 now. So take out your original investment, $100,000, pull it back out. And people are like, well, there's capital gains and all this stuff. Well, that's your fucking problem for buying into an IRA, right? Like you should have this is what I was telling people originally is you should have took the hit when you're moving your 401k or your IRAs over into gold accounts. And instead of doing that, just put it into a brokerage account instead of putting into an IRA because of all the restrictions on IRAs. And the reason it comes about because at this point in time, when you want to take profitability, there's a 10% early withdrawal fee because of taxes. If you're under 59.5, then you have to pay capital gains tax, where if you did it under a traditional brokerage account, yeah, you're going to pay capital gains tax, but all those other associated fees and restrictions are removed. So, and you would have made the money back from the fee structure of cashing out your 401k, your IRA, and you would have made that back tenfold. That's just my thought. But that's a different discussion for a different day for people out there. And nope, I am not in a no. Look, Brad's not here to yell at me tonight and for me to counteract him. No on XRP. I'm just, sorry. Short term, yeah. Next 3 to 5 years, definitely. You're going to get a good return on XRP. But XRP is not going to rule the world. You want to know why? XRP is a globalist coin. It is a centralized coin. You want to know the one company that is working with XRP right now? It's Enbridge. You know who Enbridge is?
Mm-hmm.
That's China's SWIFT replacement, the digital yuan. Wait, what? It's a centralized cryptocurrency. Yeah, Brad Darlinghouse is out there investing in all these companies. Yeah, but none of them run an XRP. That's just him divesting his investments through XRP. None of them are XRP coin. None of them is related to XRP coin. I don't know. Correlation does not equate causation. So people need to, we'll stop. Anyways, if anybody's interested in that type of stuff, hit me up, send me a DM, send me a message, tag me in a post. I'll be happy to explain it. I do explain it on my own shows as well. We can talk some other time.
Josh might as well have explained building a shuttle, because I don't know what the hell he was talking about. I will say though, I still have XRP. I'm not giving it.
It's a good short-term hold, but you probably should have sold at $3 or $2.80.
It's going.
Then you could be buying right now at a 2-to-1 ratio on your profitability and buying back in and having 3 times as much.
I'm not selling till it goes to 500, Josh. To 500. That's when I'm selling.
Yeah.
Okay. XRP to the moon, baby.
People are like, I could agree to disagree. Well, you could. I said this the other day, and I truly do mean it, and I got them too. Is that opinions are like assholes? Everybody got them. Some of them will smell like roses. Some of them smell like shit. But at the end of the day, it's the only shit that comes out.
And that's
I got them too. And I got them too. Okay.
And that's the perfect way to call it a night and end with our Valentine's commercial, folks. Make sure you guys
never know, because at the end of the day, we're probably all wrong, and that's okay.
XRP to 500, baby, to the moon. Listen, all right, just because this is the level of diamond hands that I have. My secret seed phrase, I wrote it down on a wood block so I would never lose it.
Yeah,
and then I burnt the wood block. Boom. So I can't get that shit out ever. I'm just going to wait until technology comes that lets us know how to get it. That's how loyal I am. That's diamond hands. That's next level diamond hands right there, baby.
Burned it into wait, you burned the wood. So the wood's gone?
Yeah.
So how are you going to get back into your wallet if you forget the words?
I got to wait till technology comes that lets me get back in. It's diamond hands, baby.
You're gonna be waiting a long ass time.
I'm just joking. Maybe not. It went down the river. Folks, you guys do us a solid. Hit the thumb, smash the heart, leave a comment. We'll catch you guys on the next one. You guys are going to love this commercial. Valentine's Day right around the corner. It ain't too late. Peace.
What's up? Bye.
The following ad is rated M for mature. Soft Disclosure wants you to get naked this Valentine's Day with limited edition his and her bundles that save you 20% off the individual retail prices. Proprietary oil infusions, grass-finished beef tallow, goat's milk from American goats, locally grown herbs and ingredients. Soft Disclosure is putting America First fruits on your skin.
And for these sexy bundles, we've added an all-new boar's haired beard brush and a solid jade gua sha. And the reason I'm here is because Alpha doesn't know how to say these words.
Gusha. His, hers. We need a moment to calm down. Don't hide your skin. Disclose it. Get naked this Valentine's Day with Soft Disclosure. Head over to softdisclosure.com and save 20% off individual retail prices with our his and hers customizable bundles, and use promo code NAKED to save 15% off the rest of the site. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Promo code does not apply to bundle discounts.